now we're going to wrap things up with Miss Ellen Ruffin. Hi, how are you?
Fine. How are you?
Good. And you're from the DeGrummond Children's Literature Book Group, correct?
That's right. That's right.
I thought I was going to mess up the name.
You did well.
Thank you.
DeGrummond Children's Literature Collection is actually how it got started. The collection is at McCain Library, but we have a lovely art gallery in Cook Library on the second floor. And about a year and a half ago, this book group evolved. Students, adults, people who are generally interested in children's and young adult literature decided to start reading a book once a month and gathering to discuss it. So we meet every third Thursday from 11:30 to 1 in the DeGrummond exhibit room.
That's cool. Well, tell me just a little bit about the collection. I know you told me that you were just telling me some really interesting things about it, but just give me, some of those great facts.
Sure. The collection actually started here at Southern Miss in 1966 when Dr. Lena DeGrummond began teaching children's literature to graduate students at the library school, and she wanted it to be more interesting than just a textbook about children's literature. So she started writing authors and illustrators. She wrote about 300 to 400 letters a month,
Wow.
all in longhand.
Wow.
And as a result of that, she received letters back from the authors and illustrators in their own handwriting, which was really thrilling, and which is in the collection. And one of the most significant collections we have is that of Margaret and H.A. Ray, who created a little-known monkey named Curious George. And we do have, I wouldn't say we're the repository, because I think there's another collection that has some of their work, not as much as we do. We have about 300 archival boxes of their work.
That's so cool.
And it's fascinating because, as I told you earlier, they escaped the Holocaust. They were in Paris working, and they were both from Germany. They were both Jewish, and Nazi occupation was on the move. And so H.A. Ray procured bits and pieces of 2 bicycles, put them together, and they rode out of Paris on bicycle with the original illustrations of Curious George on their backs. And the amazing thing is that that work went from Paris to Portugal to Brazil to New York and then to Boston, where they wound up and ultimately retired and died. And then it came to the DeGrummond Children's Literature Collection because of the friendship they had developed via correspondence with Dr. Lena DeGrummond. It's an
Wow.
amazing story.
That's very cool. Like, who would have known? Like, if they hadn't gotten out
That's right.
with their manuscripts, we would have no
Curious George. That's exactly right.
And he's a big part of my childhood, and probably so many others. So that's definitely such a cool story. And there was another actual interesting story you told me about, a book that's actually just was turned into a movie. The movie was actually just released, I
Yes.
think, about a month ago.
I don't know when that movie came out. The name of the movie is The Fault in Our Stars.
I
And
think
of
it was
course,
about a month ago. Something.
I think you're right. It came as a result, of course, of the popular book that John Green had written titled The Fault in Our Stars. And he is a big contributor to the DeGrummond collection. We have his papers for Looking for Alaska, for An Abundance of Catherines, and for The Fault in Our Stars. It's thrilling to have his work because he has had a real impact on many young people's lives.
Definitely. And you were telling me earlier that they're actually going to make movies into those other two books.
That's right. I follow him on Facebook, of course, and watch some of his videos. I don't know if any of you have seen his YouTube videos, but they're out of this world. And he announced that the really great filmmakers are going to do, I believe, an abundance of Catherines. And Sarah Pauli, who's a great filmmaker from Canada, is going to do, I think, Looking for Alaska. I may be wrong about who's doing which one, but he was fired up about the relationship with Sarah Pauli.
Wow. Very cool. And that's just so cool just to know that we have a connection to something that's so big in the world. Like, this is just one manuscript of one work, of one piece of
That's right.
art, and it's being taken and used, and it's earning a very lucrative amount of money, in the
Yes, I just
movie
wish those
theater.
royalties would come to the collection.
Exactly.
But, things work out and things eventually come our way. So we'll hold on. John Green is young. He's quite young. And I think he had a huge plug for the DeGrummond collection on his video posts that he does with his brother. And it's given us a terrific amount of publicity to have his papers. We're one of the most unique collections in the world, one of the largest in the world of this kind of children's literature collection. So we're fortunate to have it here at at USM.
It's very cool. Tell me about how you guys kind of pick what you discuss monthly. You pick one work every month, correct?
We do. As I said, we meet every third Thursday in the DeGrummond exhibit room on the second floor of Cook Library. And we have been focusing on the authors who are coming to the 2015 Children's Book Festival. But we've also been reading a good bit of young adult books because it's an exciting time with young adult literature. And the one that we'll have read this week is Inside Out and Back Again, about a young girl who moves to the United States from Saigon. And when the Vietnam War enters her life in Saigon, and she moves to Alabama, which is truly like a foreign country to her. So it's a very moving story. It's one that kids, young people, teenagers who have felt isolated and alone will certainly relate to. And it's very readable.
Very cool. Well, this book group, it definitely sounds interesting. So if people want to get more information about how to get involved with the book group, how can they do that?
Well, we have, you can call the DeGrummond collection, which is 601-266-6543, or you can write to me, ellen.ruffin@usm.edu. But we also have a listserv. You can just do a search and find out and add your name to the list, and that way you'll know as books come up what's coming next and what to read. We had a very interesting read a few months ago when we read the book Feed by M.T. Anderson, which I had not wanted to read. I hated the book. I hated reading it. But it is one of the most important books I think I will ever read. So it taught me that I have much to learn about young adult literature. Have any of you read Feed?
I have not.
Oh, it's a tough one. I don't mean it's difficult to read like Shakespeare, but the topic is hard to absorb. It's a little painful and difficult, but it's fabulous.